up a lot of space, but it's fun.
Yeah, we did one yesterday of Bernardo, and 15 minutes of Bernardo, so I have to delete it right after. Sorry, Bernardo, if you're listening to this. Anyways, so our model is social media, and our intermediary variables. We're kind of saying if we go far back enough with with the household debt problem, it could be like creation of money could be the cause of the household debt. So we just have to make it something recent, relevant. And
you could go as far back as decisions about education, how much your parents valued, whatever. Yeah, we don't want to go that far back. We want to have something like
So we just kind of stopped at something a little more recent, something more relevant, something everybody can relate to, and we're saying that without social media, maybe that household debt problem wouldn't be where it is today, because it's kind of a contributing factor.
Yep.
So our model has two streams, we call them, and we just tested one of them. So the intermediary variables are advertising that leads to...
So you're really going to present just one of these streams?
We're gonna try and do two.
Okay.
So for now, we tested first one, and I'm gonna run by the testing
Sure.
in front of you, and hopefully you can tell us that we're on the right track, so we can do the second one. So to test from social media to advertising, we're saying is social media creating more advertisements? The test is creating two social media platforms, one with a lot of users, one with very few users. Which one's going to attract more companies to advertise? And obviously the one with more users. So that's our test.
Yeah.
Is that valid? Okay.
Absolutely.
Good. So the advertising combines the digital advertising is it's more targeted. So people generate activity on social media platforms, and using this database of behaviors.
It's more targeted for many reasons, right?
Yeah.
Because they collect data back from every user, and they've planted things in your brain and all that sort of stuff.
And our test is running two advertising campaigns, one with random ads and one with targeted ads. Which one's going to perform better, obviously.
So make sure that you fully define exactly what you mean by targeted ads. Ads that have made use of personal data or demographic data or whatever.
Yeah.
As long as it's really well defined, I think this is great. Yeah.
Okay, so we need definitions like maybe...
You need every one of these variables has to have really clear definitions so everybody knows what you mean by targeted advertising.
Okay.
We don't want anybody thinking, oh, do they mean like targeted to men? No, you mean targeted to specific age categories and people who have already responded to other stuff. Define exactly what you mean by those variables so everybody in your audience has the exact same understanding you do of what targeted advertising means.
Do we need to put that on a slide, or we can just talk about it?
Let's talk about it.
Okay,
but
good.
If you put it on a slide, put that slide after the end, and if anybody asks, then you say, here are our definitions.
Yeah, we're kind of done with other stuff, so that makes sense. We're going to do it here. So advertising combined with targeted marketing leads to more impulse buying for people that
so are you going to test this?
We have a test. So how many clicks on a targeted advertisement leads to a purchase? The test is the conversion of clicks to purchasing, and the measure is number of purchases to targeted advertisements viewed. So
you can manipulate the number of clicks, or you can
we can manipulate the number of targeted advertisements, and then seeing how many purchases and what's the sales that kind of came from that activity.
You bet.
So that works.
Absolutely.
So we have overspending, and in that stream, that's kind of the result of all the advertising, targeted marketing.
Yeah.
Because we were kind of...
This is above and beyond what is... Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's go back. This is above... Overspending means above and beyond what... that one, you may not have to include that one. That might be, if the bulk buying is impulse.
Yeah.
I can see why you put it in there, because it's what directly leads to this.
We're struggling a lot with that. We wanted to jump directly to that.
You could keep this one out, save yourself a couple of tests, and say, we made an assumption based on existing robust models from economics that suggest if it's impulse purchasing, there is going to be some overspending.
Okay.
Now, if you're not comfortable with that, you think, well...
We're very comfortable because we did the last two tests.
Rich people can do impulse.
Yeah.
But rich people also don't...
So basically, overspending, they're generating more debt than they can repay. Is that kind of a...
Yeah. I mean, you're including all the rich people in this as well as in this. So the rich people, they don't have to worry about it, right?
Yeah.
It's the people that can't afford that we're worrying about that end up in our dependent variables. So you can probably not need to use that one.
Yeah, that would actually help us out a lot because it took us twice as much time to come up with the last test than for the previous ones. Because it sounded simple, but then when we tried to test it, it was...
So similar stuff down here.
Yeah, so I guess we can just, on the bottom we have, it's not advertising activity, but it's actually people generating their own content, purchasing something, posting it online, their friends seeing it, and then their friends getting influenced by that.
It's the social comparison.
That's the social comparison, exactly it. And then social media also leads to exposure to more goods because things go viral. It's just more things that you see. So we can come up with those tests, and again, we'll drop this pending.
I think that if I'm giving advice, that's the advice I'd give.
Perfect.
And you need to explain. Say, you know what, we thought about an intermediate variable here, but our tests are going to capture every single Canadian and the people who are really wealthy and make an impulse purchase. You know what, they're not going to end up with an increase in debt.
Yeah.
It's the folks that we're worried about that are in our dependent variable, and this for them is just redundant.
Yes. Perfect. So I think we're on the right track, and we'll just have a question about thinking about the thinking slide. So it's about how we chose social media. Is that the objective of that slide, or
are we going back, or are we going forward?
We're going forward.
Yeah.
Or it's kind of the thinking behind testing and the model.
There's all sorts of stuff here, right?
Yeah.
Social media is one or two or three of these.
But there's other things that we consider. So it's like the government spending, low interest rates, banks willing to lend more.
You can do that with this slide. You can say, you know what, we thought about all these things, but we found ourselves continuing to talk about social media and social comparison, and trying to keep up with all their friends that are showing their beautiful families. And tell them kind of quickly, verbally, what happened, and then you don't need that other slide.
So I'm kind of hearing from you that you're worried we're going to go over time, and we need to condense this.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you can cover the genesis of your model bit with this slide and telling the story of how, with all these things, we ended up with social media.
Yes, makes sense. Thank you, John. I think
my pleasure.
You helped us out a lot here.
I think you're doing fine.